Today I will be talking about coal. We will discuss different aspects of coal, starting with what it is. Then I will discuss the processes that occur in the formation of coal. I will detail where coal is mined and the two techniques utilized to do so. And lastly, I will describe the variety of ways in which coal can be used. So, coal is something that we are all accustomed to seeing, but we may not know much about its origins or its content. It is the hard black rock that we see in large piles at coal yards. We also use it to grill our foods, and its primary use is energy production. What you may not know is that the rock is made of organic material like leaves, bark, and wood, and the formation of this rock occurs over millions of years, and it's considered a fossil fuel. We call this a fossil fuel because the energy extracted from it comes from energy from the sun that was stored in plants millions of years ago. So, coal formation starts with the accumulation of plant remains in an oxygen-deficient area. Oxygen content must be low, otherwise the plants will decay as usual and they won't have a chance to accumulate. Coal takes so long to form because plant debris accumulates slowly, and a lot of it must accumulate before any coal can actually be formed due to compaction. Also, in order for accumulation to occur, plant material deposition must be occurring at a faster rate than plant decay. About 50 feet of plant debris is actually needed to be compacted into only 5 feet of coal. This is clear that in areas where we have an abundance of coal, it must be millions of years old. So, swamps are a good area to find oxygen deficient environment because they have stagnant waters and they're also inhospitable to bugs and many organisms that would usually consume plants. So this helps the plants avoid being decomposed further. So as the plants are in the swamp, bacteria start to actually decompose the plants a little bit, and this releases oxygen and hydrogen, which actually increases the carbon percentage. And as the plants further decompose, they become peat, which is a soft brown plant-based material, but it still resembles the plant material. But as other materials start to accumulate on top of the peat, temperature and pressure start to increase, and then the plants become lignite. And lignite is actually a soft brown coal, but it still contains a lot of moisture and ash, and although it contains a lot more carbon than peat, it still has significantly less than the other coal types and has a lower energy value overall. So as the burial progresses, temperature and pressure also continue increasing, which causes chemical reactions to occur in the plants, and water and more organic gases are released from the plant material. This causes the carbon to continue to increase, and compaction is increasing as more material is coming on top of the peat. And as compaction and carbon go up, the lignite turns into bituminous coal, which is a soft black coal with higher carbon content than the lignite, but still lower than the other coals. And it's actually the most abundant coal type in the United States. So lignite and bituminous coal are both sedimentary rocks, but when they experience extreme heat and pressure from processes such as mountain folding or deformation, they metamorphose into an even higher energy coal called anthracite. Anthracite is a hard, shiny rock with the highest carbon content of all the coals. It burns very slowly due to the low moisture and ash content, and although it can provide clean energy, it is more difficult and expensive to actually extract than the other coals, and therefore it is much less commonly mined. So the 4 types of coal that we mine in the United States are lignite, subbituminous, bituminous, and anthracite coal. So as stated before, anthracite is not mined very often. It's actually the least mined, although it has the highest carbon content of about 90%. but it is mostly found in Pennsylvania with about 7.3 billion tons of it over there. Lignite has the lowest carbon content and about 25% carbon, and is mined slightly more than the anthracite, and you can find that in Texas and North Dakota. Bituminous and subbituminous coal are pretty equal on both tonnage and energy, total energy mined in the United States, but subbituminous only has about 40% carbon, while bituminous has about 45 to 85% carbon. And subbituminous carbon can be found typically in Wyoming, while bituminous can be in West Virginia, Kentucky, and Pennsylvania. So, coal can be found on every continent. However, the United States has the largest supply of coal on the planet at 260 billion tons. Here you can see a map of the active coal mining operations in the United States as of 2015. About 1/8 of the country lies over coal beds, and coal can be found in 38 of the 50 states. As you can see, there's a heavy concentration of coal mines in the Northeast and the Midwest, and overall, when this was done, there were 1,460 mines in the U.S. that are still active as of 2015, which is the most recent data that I could find at this time. So, although Wyoming does have the most active coal mines compared to the other states, or it does not have the most active ones, it still produces the most, with 400 million tons of coal in 2012, and it has remained a top producing coal state. And even though Wyoming is the top producer of coal, Texas is the top consumer of coal and consumes about 100 million tons of coal annually. So coal is mined two ways. There's surface mining and underground mining. So surface mining is exactly what it sounds like. You remove the top and subsoil, and then the coal underneath is uncovered, and then you just extract it that way. This can be done with drag lines, wheel excavators, and large shovels. Underground mining is a little bit more invasive, and they drill 2 holes into the hillside where the coal is found deeper underneath the surface, and one hole allows the miners and equipment to go in, and the other hole is for the coal to go out. And in order to bring the coal out, it has to be broken up a little bit smaller, so they can do that with explosives or with rotating cutters that break into the coal. So land reclamation is an attempt to improve the land before, during, and after mining occurs, and this is supposed to restore the land so that we don't just completely scar the land doing this kind of thing. And as coal is removed in one area, topsoil is severely disturbed there. Land at another section of the mine is supposed to be replaced and reseeded in order to restore it to a better condition than it was even before the mining. So far, lands that have been reclaimed have been turned to wildlife preserves, golf courses, recreational areas, pastures, farmlands, and since the 1970s, about 2 million acres of mined land have been reclaimed. Also, around 100,000 acres of abandoned mining sites from the early 20th century have been reclaimed by modern coal producers. Okay, so coal's main use is actually electricity production, and although it contributes 20% of to the nation's energy production, it generates 40% of America's electricity. And it's actually estimated that each person in the United States consumes about 3 tons of coal each year, and it's actually thought that the coal in the United States has more energy than oil reserves of the entire planet. So first, the coal is mined, and this is usually done within the United States, and you use either surface or underground mining as detailed before. Then after it is mined, it's taken to a power plant where it's mechanically broken up so it can be more easily processed, and then it's burned. And the burning actually results in steam, and the steam powers a generator, which then provides electricity. So that's how coal is turned from the rock to electricity. Other uses are like so even though it's primarily for electricity, it has a couple other purposes that are much less important, but they're still good to know. So it can be used in the production of chemicals, cement, paper, ceramics, metals, but it's also used for its heating abilities. And so bricks and cement are heated in kilns that are heated by the burning of coal. Byproducts of coal are also important, as we can see here. The filler of golf balls and tennis rackets, those are actually byproducts of coal. And the methanol and ethylene that come from coal can be used to produce plastics, medicine, fertilizers, and tar. So, as you can see, it has a lot of diverse purposes. And coal is a major export of the United States. In 2011, 107 million tons of coal were exported to over 35 countries. And while this exportation brings in some revenue, it also provided jobs to people like the crane operators, the barge workers, port workers, and financial experts. So as you can see, coal has taken a very long time to produce, and it supports a lot of the things we do in America, from giving us most of our electricity to being a major export, and it's very important to understand, and as we go on and use more of it, we're going to have to do more studying as to what we'll do to make this sustainable.